Hi, welcome to another episode of PowerEdge Soundbite, where we discuss all things PowerEdge. Today, we're going to dive deep into the PowerEdge server to talk about the latest PowerEdge RAID Controller, the PERC 11. I'm joined with Kendall, who's going to explain to us why hardware RAID, and really, why should we look at PERC?
Thanks, Bertrand. And first, I want to go back and look at the spinning disk era and when the PERC really came into its own and gained a lot of popularity. Early in the spinning disk era, a big part of this benefit of having a RAID controller was to improve throughput. As many of us will remember, spinning disks were really slow, and in order to improve response times, we needed some sort of read and write caching, either read ahead or prefetch caching, as well as distributing I/O to multiple spindles in order to distribute that workload. But today, even a single solid-state drive can compete with 100 legacy spinning disks, and it's far more reliable to boot. So while there is still need to maintain redundancy, caching at the controller level is no longer desirable and, in fact, is detrimental.
So does that mean that hardware RAID is dead?
I would disagree with that. And on the contrary, you could argue that it's as important as ever, just for different reasons. Anyone's been around for a while may remember when Gig Ethernet became the standard. I was doing sysadmin work at the time, and because TCP offload cards were not yet commonplace and CPUs were far less capable than today, we'd have hosts with multiple Gig E ports have their CPUs get absolutely clobbered by network I/O. As powerful as the CPUs have become today, doing RAID operations on, let's say, even a dozen drives capable of tens of thousands of IOPS each is not an insignificant amount of overhead.
Yeah, no, that's true. If we look at 10 years ago, a heavy application would drive like 2,000 IOPS, and our storage controllers, would be struggling to keep up with that. Whereas when we look at now, as you said, a single SSD can drive 2,000 IOPS, if not more. So really what we're looking at is 100x, which again, even though CPUs are faster, do we really want CPU to do RAID calculation and parity calculation? I don't think so. I think there's better places for that to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's not where it ends at all for the PERC controller. It also offers things like battery backup for IOs in flight. You can configure your hot spares. There's cryptographic erasure features, a number of great options for changing RAID configuration and expansion of RAID groups. The PERC 11 also has a disk roaming feature that will allow you to relocate drives within the enclosure. It'll support up to 1 megabytes IOs and has a snap dump feature to automatically collect debug data in the event of a failure, as well as some other notable security features, which we've discussed in previous videos, such as hardware root of trust and secure firmware updates.
And those are key. Everybody who's been in the industry long enough know that battery backup cache is a critical feature. But also, I want to kind of double click on another new feature that's been introduced with PERC 11, which is the support for NVMe SSD. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's probably one of the more notable features and upgrades from the previous generation. And while PowerEdge did support NVMe drives in 14G, they were directly connected to CPU via the NVMe. So if RAID was required, it would need to be software-based. 15G allows up to 8 NVMe devices per controller and CPU without oversubscription, and the RAID configuration is managed by the PERC, offering all the benefits of the platform. So PERC 11 is the PCIe endpoint to the host and presents NVMe RAID volumes to the host as a SCSI device.
And that's important because we all know, one of the big benefit of 15G is the additional performance, and being able to drive that performance all the way down into the NVMe drive through PERC 11 doing the hardware RAID, for those drive is a key component to harvesting the larger performance of 15G.
Yeah, absolutely. And 15G and PERC 11 have really expanded the use cases of server NVMe storage. Previously it was more for specialized use cases, things like VMware vSAN or Oracle Rack that really make use of individual disk devices. But now it's much more beneficial for a generalized workload that is not going to be looking for an individual disk device, but rather a volume that's created out of a RAID set.
Exactly, and I think what PERC 11 really bring is as you said, we've seen NVMe driving the industry for quite some time now, but they've been mostly up until now mostly located into centralized storage, such as PowerMax or PowerStore, especially because of what you were saying about them leveraging CPU cycles. Whereas now with PERC 11, we can really see those NVMe drive and the benefit that they bring come into the server and being leveraged by software-defined storage or other applications that can really leverage the performance that they bring. So I think yes, PERC 11 is an interesting or is a necessary component to harnessing the best performance out of 15G. So thanks a lot for giving us the overview today. I thought that was awesome, and to explain why, even though in this era of super fast drive with thousands of IOPS, why hardware RAID is still such a critical component to getting the best performance out of our servers.
Yep. So, thanks for talking with me today, Bertrand, and thanks everybody for watching. Please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for our next bite.
Thanks a lot. Have a good one.